Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Truly appreciate every single person who is watching this right now. If you are on YouTube or my Instagram or my TikTok, just want to say I really appreciate it. But before I get to what I'm going to talk about today, I do want to talk about something very interesting. I have been recently getting hit with a lot of violations on my Instagram, YouTube, and on my TikTok. So I feel like any day now I'm going to lose some of my accounts, because I actually shared it a couple days ago, you know, that I'm on the hot seat right now for some reason. Like, they are literally threatening me to like permanently take away my account, which I find really outrageous, because all I'm doing is just highlighting things that are going on in Palestine and Israel. I am not posting anything that has anything to do with hatred. Like, a lot of my videos, I make it clear that I do not hate Jewish people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I've been covering a lot of stuff that's been going on in Israel, but I am not trying to spread hatred within the Israeli people. But everybody has been seeing what's been going on, so like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much about it. But the reason why I bring this up is because, like, I feel like any day now I'm going to be losing some of my accounts that I've been working so hard for the past couple months. But I'm not trying to make this a sad story or anything like that, but I just find it interesting, because as soon as you try to share a certain narrative that goes against the program narrative, there's always going to be an issue, you know? So it's just like, damn, where's the freedom of speech in today's society? You feel me? Like, why do we have to, like, only talk about certain things and ignore certain things? Like, why can't we talk about things that we find important? Because I truly find what's going on right now so important, but it's just so crazy that I'm being shadow banned or I'm being hit with violations every time I post any type of content about what's going on. So that's that. Just want to say, always speak the truth no matter what happens, and you know, God will make sure that you get to where you need to be. So before I get to like the itty gritty stuff, I do want to cover two articles that show, you know, Israel's responsibility in other genocides. Specifically what happened in Guatemala, the civil war in Guatemala, but there's other instances or other things that happen in history that has Israeli, you know, involvement in it when it comes to like the mass killing of indigenous populations. So the first article is Israel's role in war crimes committed during the Guatemalan Civil War. So not so long ago, I did a video about the genocide that happened in Guatemala and how they found Israeli, you know, bullets, like the weapons that were used to kill 30,000 indigenous Mayans belong to the Israel army. So I found that really interesting. I might even show that video right now. So let's see, like one of the graves was a husband and wife and sister all buried in the same grave, and there was a lady that was literally there, and that was the daughter. She was the daughter of the husband and wife, and she was just watching them being unearthed. So just imagine how that would feel. So one of the graves, or one of the skeletons had 3 gunshots to the head, like, which basically corresponded with the testimonies that was given by the Guatemalan people, that these victims were either shot or macheted. So they said that they both had skeletons that had the gunshot to the head, to the skull, and also machete wounds in the neck. So yeah, it was literally aligning. And the doctor also said that these executions were very close up and very methodical. And later, when the bones were moved, they found bullets from Israeli assault rifles used by the Guatemalan army. And I'm not making this up. I'm probably going to throw the clip in there just to show you guys I'm not kidding.
Later, when the bones are moved, they'll find bullets from Israeli assault rifles.
Let me repeat that. Later, when the bones were moved, they found bullets from who? From Israeli assault rifles used by the Guatemalan army. I don't want to go too much into this loophole, but there's a lot of countries that have been, I don't want to say this statement, like, it might seem very controversial, but yeah, Israeli bullets have been scattered all around the world, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that was just a little piece of that. If you want to watch that full video, that's one of my favorite videos, by the way. It's on my YouTube channel. So let's move on. So the article says the Jewish state not only sold weapons to the right-wing Guatemalan government, but also provided military advice that contributed to the war crimes it committed against its indigenous population. The Guatemalan Civil War ended in 1996, but its repercussions over the country's indigenous population, which has suffered more than other ethnic and political groups, continues. In late 2019, a Jerusalem-based human rights defender, Itay Mack, demanded an inquiry from Israel's chief prosecutor over the state's role in the Civil War, which killed more than 200,000 people over decades. But since then, the Israeli prosecutor's investigation slowed as the country's defense ministry stalled the disclosure of sensitive documents. This may prove the country's illicit connections with right-wing Guatemalan generals. The Israel military scorched earth campaign against the Palestinians inspired the Guatemalan right-wing military to replicate the tactic against the country's rebellious indigenous Maya population through a brutal process of their Palestinization with its forced integrated nationalism, according to experts. In the early 1980s, the Guatemalan military under General Jose Efren Rios Montt, who came to power through a military coup in 1982, backed by former United States President Ronald Reagan, conducted a village massacre in Dos Eres, killing everyone except 4. In 1999, a UN-sanctioned truth investigation committee found that all ballistic evidence recovered from the village scene corresponded to bullet fragments from firearms and pods of Galil rifles made in Israel. Montt was also thankful to the Israel military for its training of Guatemalan soldiers for the success of his military coup, which was central to the conduct of the genocide against the Maya population. So Montt was thankful to Israel for teaching them how to do a genocide against the Mayan population. It's very crazy. Experts have pointed out that at least 300 Israeli advisors were in Guatemala during the coup. Why was Israel in Guatemala during this genocide? Just think about that. Like, why? Interesting. Israel is known to have intelligence teams, security and communication specialists, and military training personnel in Guatemala, reported the New York Times at the time. Montt's brutal campaign against the country's Maya also carried remarkably similar themes to some Israel policies against the Palestinians. Montt's Guns and Beans campaign, which offered, "If you are with us, we'll feed you. If not, we will kill you," was almost identical to the current Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's economic peace plan to the Palestinians under the deal of the century, promoted by the U.S. former President Donald Trump. So there's so much more I can get through this article, but I'm just trying to show you guys that there is a correlation with Israel and other indigenous populations that have been killed and brutally massacred. So yeah, I'm not going to get too much to this article, but I'm just trying to highlight some very important key things. So this next article that I'm going to be showing you guys is about what's going on in Mexico. This is titled, "Mexico Seeks to Join Genocide Case Against Israel Amid Protests at Israeli Embassy." Mexico has decided to join South Africa's genocide against Israel in the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, filing a declaration of intervention on Tuesday. So that was the 28th of May. The declaration states that Mexico seeks to intervene in order to provide its views on the potential construction of the content of the provisions of the convention relevant to this case. Mexico was the most recent country to join the case against Israel, following Turkey, Colombia, and Egypt. Mexico outlined in its application the deliberate obstruction of access to humanitarian assistance and the destruction of cultural heritage as elements that should be considered in this case.
The declaration of intervention against Israel at the International Court of Justice. All the details in the following report. Protesters in Mexico have set fire to the Israeli embassy in Mexico City as clashes broke out between anti-Israel protesters and police. Video shows the embassy ablaze, and multiple reports indicated that at least 6 people were injured in the fire. The incident took place as around 200 people gathered for an urgent action for Rafah protest outside the embassy. Some of the rioters, masked demonstrators, threw stones at the police and broke down police barricades. The riots come just one day after the International Court of Justice announced that Mexico invoked Article 63 of the Statute of the Court and filed a declaration of intervention in South Africa's genocide case against Israel. In the declaration, Mexico said it seeks to intervene, to provide its view on the potential construction of the content of the provisions of the convention relevant to the case.
So that's the end of that article. I'm just trying to show you guys that there's a tension not only between the Palestinian and the Israeli occupation, but literally we are seeing a torch like going off, and we are now seeing how many Israeli embassies there are in all these countries and states that should even have embassies in. Like, Israel is making the whole world an Israeli occupation. Like, literally they are occupying so many parts of the world that they shouldn't even be in. Like, how can you expect a two-state solution literally when you're wiping out everyone there? Women, children, innocent men, like everybody, like animals, you know? They're making it a freaking war zone where it should be a home for people. But literally when you walk around, imagine just being a Palestinian child, just walk around, all you see is rubble and just buildings upon buildings demolished, and all your mosques and schools, and not even for the Muslims, but even Christians. There's Christians who can't even go to church anymore, who can't even go to their schools anymore, because like literally no one is safe there. The only people who are like safe are the Israeli people. They are the only ones who are allowed to have restaurants, markets, schools, you know, their synagogues. But if you're not Israeli, that's it. Like, you're gonna be kicked out, brutalized, dehumanized, and murdered. So it's like, damn. So there's so much I want to say, but I just feel like I want to keep it short. But I just want to say thank you guys all for being here. And again, if you like this type of content, please hit a like and subscribe, or just, you know, even comment, you feel me? Because I want to spread. I really want to get to where I want to be, and I feel like it's hard to do that when you are like covering this type of stuff. So I'm literally like relying on, you know, the people to like help spread this information, to help spread this truth, and just to spread an awareness, to be honest. So just want to say thank you again. Much love, much blessings, and I hope to catch you guys on the next one.